Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at Anvil's Hurricane. This is a two-seat heavy fighter and by all means it is a potent weapon. I've been wanting to fly and try and kill things by this ship in a very long time and I finally got to grips with it, and it is a superb piece of space engineering. Anvil really have produced a heavy fighter with some serious clout behind it. Obviously it's a two-man operation ship for you and a friend to go around and put many things to death with relative ease. Even with stock components, this particular ship is very tanky, has a ridiculous amount of DPS, and the turret is one of the best turrets in the game in my humble opinion. The turret rotation and maneuverability of that is excellent, and with some well-trained coordination between pilot and gunner, there aren't many things that are going to stand a chance against the onslaught of such a weapon platform as the Hurricane. It is excellent, a very good ship. Obviously, to utilize the full potential, you do need someone utilizing all four guns that are situated on top of this ship in this excellent fighter. So I'm looking forward to using this more and making some serious money with this thing. It is by all accounts a beast. So let's dive into some of the history and lore behind this incredible fighter. The Hurricane was originally developed in 2607 during the Second Tavaran War by CAS Aerospace. It was specifically designed to destroy Tavaran ships as quickly as possible the moment their phalanx shields failed. The CAS Hurricane suffered some setbacks during the testing phase, though pilots liked the power to weight ratio and extra punch its quad turret offered. The high degree of coordination needed between the pilot and gunner had a very steep learning curve. Because of this, the Hurricane didn't enter active combat until 2609. While they were used to devastating effect in a few instrumental actions, the war ended shortly after their deployment in 2610. Although it was effective during the war, it soon fell out of favour and was quickly decommissioned after 2615. During the second major Vandal incursion in 2871, a UEE report showed that the longer a human pilot was engaged in combat with the Vandal, the less likely they were to survive. In response, the UEE Navy requested new concepts for an Alpha Strike fighter that had enough focused firepower to quickly destroy Vandal fighters. Anvil Aerospace redeveloped the aging Hurricane design in order to quickly produce a fighter that the Navy needed. The updated design still bore all the hallmarks of CAS's original, but with the addition of Anvil's proven conflict expertise. The result was a game changer for the war effort, and in 2878 new wings of Hurricane were being developed and deployed by the Navy on the front lines. During the fall of Caliban, the Hurricane proved to be very effective in clearing out Vandal fighter wings, allowing many civilian convoys to evacuate safely from the Caliban system. Its success against the Vandal has made it a key component of both the UEE Navy and Marine fleets. Although the Hurricane was only produced for the UEE military until 2947, several pirate groups have stolen them since their Anvil redesign. Most prominently, the Argyle Dawn and the Otoni Syndicate have used him effectively to ambush and disable cargo convoys. The Argyle Dawn was so efficient with their Hurricane wings that the Advocacy launched several high-risk raids against the Argyle Dawn's headquarters at Echo 11. Even though it is one of the oldest ships designed still flying, Anvil brought it to the civilian market in 2947. So the Hurricane does have some interesting history behind it. It's combat proven. It's gone through some various iterations. Anvil took it on and made it the beast that it is today. Let's talk a little bit about how this ship looks, because I think it looks superb. And I think in some aspects, especially towards the rear of the ship, it shares a look that you might find on modern fighters of today. For example, like those engines almost certainly remind me of the F-15 Strike Eagle in some aspects, but in terms of aesthetics, the Hurricane looks the part. It looks mean, it looks venomous and ready to do business. So it is a very incredible and highly capable combat machine. And not many things can take on a well-trained Hurricane crew, in my opinion. I've seen this thing dominate PvP battles. AI don't really stand a chance. This thing is great. The engines themselves, got that gas blue look to them, which I like. I think it suits this particular look of this ship. That sort of blue tinted gas flame out. They look the part. I really do like the engines on this. Like I said, I kind of get the modern day fighter vibe from the engines and the way they're spaced. It's got wings, which obviously make it handle respectably in atmosphere. It doesn't struggle all that much. So it's a very, very cool ship. My only regret is I didn't get into it sooner. But courtesy of the ability to rent ships at the moment, I managed to get in it, and me and my friend paired up and yeah, destroyed a lot of stuff with relative ease. It is absolutely superb. Now there is some sort of shading bug with the turret at the moment. Sometimes it's okay, and other times it's just pitch black, which is a little bit annoying because it ruins the aesthetic of the ship, but I absolutely adore how this thing looks. It just has an air of menacing, troublesome, venomous potency about it, and I like it. And even the cockpit itself, it's very, the way it's shaped, it kind of reminds me of modern day attack helicopters, the way the struts run either side down, very much like an Apache in some respects. So there's a lot of stuff and styling that works for this ship. Internally, it is just as well laid out. All the control panels look really good. You know, we have various buttons and stuff, although they might not have a function yet. They should do in the future. So this ship is going to have all of your button pushing needs. It is operated and flown by using the HOTAS system, so no HOSAS in this. And yeah, MFDs are a little bit low, might be an issue, but if you're in combat, you're not really going to be paying too much attention towards those sort of minor details, because your head's going to be out the cockpit looking around, killing everything in sight. So let's go over the features. The turret. The vehicle has a powerful manned turret in its centre, which can carry up to 4 size 3 guns. The gunner can support the pilot with accurate fire as well as other multi-crew features, such as radar and missile locks, leaving the pilot free to focus on manoeuvring the ship. Weapons. In addition to the manned turret, the ship also has a pair of size 3 guns beside the cockpit, as well as a pair of racks that can hold a pair of size 2 missiles each. Tactics. The Hurricane was designed as a zoom and boom fighter, unloading its full complement of guns at a target in attack run before flying away at high speed to reload, recharge and avoid return fire. It is a close to mid-range ship, similar to the Gladius. It is designed to work with other fighters and support ships rather than for long-range patrols. In groups, the Hurricane favours using alternative waves of attack runs, with counter-attacks facing the full crossfire of multiple Hurricanes. Anvil Aerospace's resurrection of the Hurricane was an immediate success for the Navy. Within its first week of deployment in the Caliban system in 2878, Hurricane pilots and gunners scored an impressive number of confirmed Vandal kills in 2884. Witnesses to the fall of the Caliban claimed the Hurricane played an instrumental role clearing paths to jump points for the evacuations of civilians. Thanks to its enduring speed and devastating arsenal, Hurricanes have become an instrumental part of the UEE Marine Expeditionary Brigades, where pilots rely on hard-hitting tactics to clear the way for planetary assault ground forces. Besides its overwhelming offensive capabilities, one of the Hurricane's most distinguishing features is the pilot entry method. The pilot seat deploys from the ship's belly, allowing expedited takeoff procedures when precious seconds count. Supposedly, Anvil used the Hurricane's entry method as inspiration for the Gladiator, so when the Anvil won the UEE Navy contract to remake the Hurricane, they upgraded the seat's hydraulic lift to match. So let's talk about some of the statistics for this particular ship. So it's a crew capacity of 1 to 2. You can buy this in game for 1.2 million, roughly 1,218,000. It has a length of 22 meters, a width of 14.5 and a height of 6 meters. The mass is 90,245 kilograms. So quite chunky for a fighter, but it is a heavy fighter. Avionics, it has one size 1 radar and one size 1 computer. Accompanying those particular modules, we have one size 1 jump drive and 2 size 1 fuel intakes, 2 size 1 fuel tanks and 1 size 1 quantum fuel tank. The range is respectable, but I would almost certainly swap the QT drive for an Atlas, I think, as that's my normal go-to for these types of ships, but we'll come on to that when we discuss the stock components to be found on this ship. So, as a pilot of a Hurricane, you get access to the missiles and 2 weapons located on the front, which can be swapped out for size 4. They're 3 stock. I believe they're the Panthers. Obviously, nowhere near as much DPS being chucked out by the turret. The turret itself is absolutely fantastic. I think it's one of the most responsive turrets in the game. The visibility is fairly good unless there's something directly above you, which can be obscured just by the shape of the turret. But its speed and accuracy and just the coverage and gun depression that you get from this turret is actually fairly respectable. It took me by surprise just how mobile and fast this turret is compared to some of the others in the game. It's very responsive, very easily putting rounds down on target without any issues. The turret is where most of the damage gets done, and if you decide that your pilot needs better weapons, he can of course swap those out for fixed size 4 to give you a bit more oomph, which you shouldn't need. This ship is an absolute weapon and a really well trained crew. You get working together in tandem. Not a lot of stuff is going to survive. It would be interesting to see this pitted up against a fully manned Redeemer versus Hurricane fight. That would be interesting. Both of those ships have really good stock components and are notorious for being quite tanky. As you can see here, I'm trying to kill whatever this is, doing it badly of course, but the turret really did take me by surprise on just how quickly it moves. And that's the only blind spot, is when the ships go above you, you end up looking into like the top half of the roof of the turret. It's not too bad, but it's so responsive, incredibly quick to swing this turret round and put rounds down range and deliver that DPS in quick succession. So it's really good. The pilot can engage other targets and you can mop up anyone trying to hit you in the 6 or anything like that. There is a lot of fun and devastation to be had with you and a friend in this ship. You will rake in a lot of money. Hopefully that mission sharing pays out a bit better. I think they're working on the contract sharing, so you can both get the full amount rather than splitting it. But either way, it's a good time. If you're looking for someone to get into this, nudge a friend, he'll do it. Right, let's take a look then at the basic weapons and components and see what we get with a stock Hurricane. Okay guys, here we are on Urkel DPS Calculator, and as you can see, we'll start with the pilot's weapon system. So he has access, he or she, pardon me, the pilot has access to 2 size 3 Panthers. I see no reason to change these at the moment. By all means, tailor this ship to whatever tickles your pickle and or floats your boat. We can swap these out for size 4s. I imagine a Hurricane dripping in ballistics would be a very scary thought. It's just constantly reloading could be a problem. So although the Panthers are great, you may wish to, as a pilot, to upgrade those. Then of course we have the size 5 turret with the 4 size 3, again equipped with Panthers. There are a myriad of weapons you could choose, whichever ones you prefer, and you could probably mix some of those out. I might in the future possibly have a distortion turret. That might be fun times. We do get some missiles as well. They are the Ignite 2, and of course you could tailor those to whatever missiles you particularly fancy or prefer. Shields, we have a size 2 full stop, which I have not had to replace. It's a good shield set for a stock component. I've not lost the shields yet, so that's saying something. Power plants, we have the size 2 solar flare. I would probably at some point in the future swap that for a JS 400, but at the moment, because I've done very limited customizations and trying to pimp one of these out, I'm quite happy with the full stop until I get more time with this particular ship. But there's a myriad of stuff there. The shields. Then we have 2 coolers. Again, they seem to work fine with the weapon systems on board, but I'd probably go for a better cooling system just to help the ship keep the guns in working order, etc. So that's again would be down to your personal preference. There's plenty in there. Ultra flow's looking pretty good, and the quantum drive is an expedition. The range is okay. for maximum range, I always go with an Atlas. Yes, it takes a long time to get there, but you know, what's the rush? So Atlas for fuel economy, almost certainly. That's my personal preference. Of course, you could tailor it to however you want. So there we go, guys. That was the stock loadout for the Hurricane. Now we need to transition into our ship walk around. Okay, let's begin our ship walk around then. I like to do these simply to give you a sense of scale, because it's one thing for me to just show you pictures and nice video clips of the ship. It's another to give you a sense of scale by walking around the ship itself. So design wise, I like it. It looks quite aerodynamic. It has the wings that turn over. It has a tricycle landing gear. Obviously we have the two pilot's weapon systems right at the front of the spacecraft. The vessel looks great. As we maneuver around the back, we can see like an intricate wing system, and the tail planes, although I'm not sure if they're rudders, but they do look like controllable flight surfaces, which is certainly going to help in atmosphere. Then we come to these ginormous engines with that intricate detailing on the nozzles of the engines themselves. I really like that. That's really cool. The detail is good, but it just has so much resemblance to modern day fighters that we see today. I think that's what's quite appealing, you know. It looks combat ready, the wings, the landing gear, everything, it just looks the part. And the way the cockpit slopes down, you can see the missiles tucked away neatly there in sort of the nacelles underneath the wing. Looks really good. But the cockpit itself has a very sort of helicopter look to it in some aspects, I think. Yeah, it's just a superb ship. Just wish that shader bug on the turret would die, but unfortunately, you know, Star Citizen things. So we'll jump in. You can see the seat comes down for ease of access, and then scramble, 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 go kill everything to death. Okay, so here we are in the cockpit. As you can see, the struts point down towards the nose of the ship. Everything is exactly where you would expect it to be. We have some buttons on the struts to the left and right that don't do anything yet. Hopefully they do in the future. Plenty of things to press in here, but other than that, it's the normal sort of display that we're used to in these types of ships. So we have the HOTAS system and the MFDs next to the flight stick itself, and it is kind of cramped, but it's a fighter, right? It's not supposed to be comfortable. So let's turn the ship on, and after a little bit of lag we got the ship on, but there we are. So everything is okay. And now you're not going to see some of these MFDs when you're flying the ship trying to shoot things, right? They are quite low, and I shouldn't really be wearing my armor in the ship. I know that, but I forgot to take it off, so you're just going to have to forgive me. Visibility wise, it's fine. The struts are nowhere near as intrusive as you might think looking from the outside in. I have absolutely no issue with this cockpit layout, apart from the MFDs are a little bit low, and the radar doesn't quite function how I would like to at the moment, so I think that's just a bug. But it's very tight and compact, and it does make you feel like you are in fact flying a vessel designed to kill things to death, so that's a nice touch. We'll now transition to hopping in the back. Again, it's the same seat down process. There we go, and we'll get in and then take a look in and around the cockpit so we can get a feel and a flavour for what's going on here. So we'll power on. We have the 3 MFDs, which is useful because you can still, as a gunner in here, control the radar, lock targets, access the ship functions, fire missiles. So you have 4 MFDs, sorry, not 3. So we have the 4 MFDs in here. So you still get some things to do that are arguably quite important: shield, target lock, missiles, and all that good sort of stuff. So that's quite good. It's much more, it's 5 MFDs if you don't include the radar, but you do get the radar and all the other stuff that the pilot gets, which is good. So it's much more of an immersive experience for the co-pilot gunner, unlike the Antares, which you just press 2 buttons, which was, you know, ridiculous. I wouldn't be happy in the back of this ship compared to this. This is the better ship in terms of looks and aesthetics over the Scorpius, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but you know, it is what it is. So there we go, guys. That was my video on the Anvil Hurricane. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what buttons to press, and I of course will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location soon. Thanks very much, guys. Take care. Cheers.